Hello, welcome to Indie Tutorials. My name is Guillermo and I would like to thank the patrons supporting this channel. Hello everyone, today we are going to cover the 3 ways that we can begin the battle in the game. As you can see here, this is a screenshot from the guide and the data log from the game, and it states that we can have 3 ways to begin the battle: great, good and poor. So great, of course, is when we successfully hit the enemy before he even notices us. The second one is good. After the enemy spots us, we hit him first. And the last one is getting hit by the enemy at first. And of course, the last way of beginning the battle also has a branch. So if we are playing it in easy mode, there is no penalty. But if we are playing in a normal mode, then we get a message. Let me bring it up, the screenshot. What is it? Here. So this is the poor way to start the battle, when we get hit with by the enemy first, and playing in normal mode we get a penalty. Then if we start as a good mode, or the good way, the enemy begins with 10% less HP, and if we start the battle when the enemy didn't spot us, then we get the great beginning and the enemy begins with 25% less HP. So today let's cover how to implement this in the game. I have already imported 3 images that we are going to use for the display of the messages, and they need to be inside the resources, at the root of the resources folder, not inside any of the subfolders, because we are going to call these images as icons from a ORK game event, actually the dialogue step node, and we are going to inject those as icons, and they need to be placed in the resources folder. Okay, so we have a standard line, which is white, we have a red line, and we have a yellow one. Right now there is no possibility, without doing some extra coding, to change the color dynamically. That's why I had to create these 3 images. Okay, so let's move on and let's open up the ORK Framework editor and start modifying the battle start event. So from here we need to go to the event, and then let's choose our battle start event, open battle start, and select the one we were working with. Let me drag the description a little bit lower and expand the window. So this is what we have so far, and we're going to start building this logic in this event, and it's going to be a little bit messy, but stay with me. Okay, so the first change we are going to do is click on the event settings and scroll down to the audio clip settings and click on add audio clip. We are going to call another sound effect when we start the battle. So I will try to do it from here. So S for sound, battle, and let me see if I can click on it. Yes, and change the reference type to resources. Let's save the changes. So we have, this is another audio I imported, but you can use any audio you like. Alright, so next I'm going to start making some room here, because we are going to add a lot of new nodes. So bear with me. Alright, so right from the event settings we want to play our audio clip. So let's choose animation plus audio, then audio, and then play sound, and link the event settings to this play sound. And from here in the play sound step we want to select, or it's already selected, the audio clip 0. So what we want to do here is just to click on play one shot, and we can modify the audio to be something less loud, like let's say 0.5. Again, save the changes and let's continue. And the next is what we want to do is to hide our HUD from the game when we start the battle. For that, what we can do is to call our custom Unity event that we created in previous videos, and that is inside our event, and then we have call Unity event invoke Unity game event. So let's add this here, connect the play sound to this one, and the game event, the Unity game event that we want to call, we already created in the past, and it's called on battle start. So we have on battle ended and on battle start event. So let's click on that one, and as soon as the play sound, after the play sound, it will invoke this game event. Then we can bound our HUD to this game event and hide the HP gauge and the minimap whether the battle starts. Okay. So after the invoking this Unity game event, we can also, for example, override the node name and make a descriptive information like event hiding HUD, for example. And then after this node we want to wait a little bit, so let's click on add base wait step node. Let's link the step together, and from here we can wait just a bit, 0.1, even 0 will be enough just to skip some frames. I'm going to save the changes, and the next step we want to do is actually call the store music. So let's move this here and link the wait to the store music. After the store music, we want of course to call the change music to equilibrium, which is okay. And what we can do afterwards is to play with the camera in order to change its position just right before the battle starts. So let's move a little bit to the side so we can still see the link here, and we can right click and remove connection, and from here let's right click, add, select game object, camera, and then change camera position. So let's add this node here, connect the change music to it, and what we are asked or requested here to change is the camera position. Right now is choosing the default position that we have in our game settings. So what we can do here, let me just save first, and here we have the button to create a new one or to edit the default position. I will create a new one because I want to leave always the defaults as it is. So click on the plus button and it will create a new one. So next let's click on edit now. So we are going here in the world settings, camera positions, and we have our new camera position. Let's call it battle start camera position, and from here It's a little bit tricky to do this without actually moving the camera and play with it, but let's add a few parameters that I played before. So it will be in the position offset, we have the Y to 3, the Z, let's set it to 3 as well. We can leave the rotation as it is. Then we click on look at, and we want to ignore the Z rotation. Okay, so let's save these settings and let's go back to the event. So we are here in the event, we have the change camera position. Let's make sure that the battle start camera is now selected. So we want here to fade the position from the current to another position, of course, to the battle start camera position, and we want that to be done in 0.5 seconds. Then for the interpolation we can play with it. For example, let's say is in quad, and let's save this event. So we have so far change music, camera position. The next node is to check the game variables. So we want to check for the variable that we created before, which is called player spotted. That is in charge to change the warning message that Jumper displays when he sees lightning. So let's create add, then let's go back to the value, and here we have variable, and we need to check game variables. So this is the one that we determine whether we were spotted or not by the enemy in the first place. So let's link the camera position to it. And here in the check game variables, we want to add or leave that is already a global variable. Click on add game variable, and here the value of the variable name is player spotted, and we want to check this is a boolean, and we want to check if it's true. Save the event, and now we have a success and a failed returns. So the success branch will give us the good and the poor because we were already spotted. The fail means that we were not spotted yet, so we can have here the great way of start the battle. Okay, so let's create this branch again, and for the success, which means that we were spotted, we need to create another check variable. So let's click on check variable and duplicate it, copy, and link the success to it. And now we need to determine a way to check if the start can be good or poor. To that, what we can do is check another variable that we already have, and in this case is the variable called weapon drawn. So when Lightning has drawn the weapon, means she's already in battle stance. So we were spotted, but we hit the enemy first. So we can check here in the checking variables, weapon drawn. This is already a boolean, and we need to check if it's true or false. So by checking is valid, it means true. And then we have two branches. So we have the weapon drawn, and we didn't have the weapon drawn. So we were looking at other place, let's say. Alright, so let's start connecting this stuff. And if we had the weapon drawn, we go to the good way of a start, and if we failed or we didn't have the weapon drawn, we go to the poor state or way to start the battle. So we are going to start displaying some dialogues. Then we need to create for that a new GUI box to display this the layout of the dialog we want to show. So for that, let's save the event as it is right now, and let's go into our menus tab, and from here click on GUI boxes. This is the list of GUI boxes that we have created so far. So let's create a new one by clicking the plus add. Let's call it something like start battle mode GUI box. And from here we don't need the cursor over nor to reset input. We can leave the GUI layer to UI. Then in the height adjustment we leave it as none. In the content box, let's play with some settings. I know that we need to go to the GUI editor at the end, and let's select to the bound 00 in the X, 440 in the Y. Then for the width we want the full extent of our monitor, and the height of the content box will be 640. We can leave upper left, and for the padding let's put 0 on all axes. Then for the line spacing we can also click on 0. We don't want to show the box, just the text. And in the text formatting we want to leave it as the default at white, leave it show shadow, and with the default shadow settings color is okay. You can put the show outline, and for that it will use as well the default shadow color. Scroll down. For the text we are going to use our Square 721 text font. Double click on that one and change the reference as well to resources, and the font size is going to be 44. Then the font style, let's change it to italic. Okay. The text alignment, it was going to be center, and the line alignment to middle. It's going to have one column, and we can leave the column spacing to 10 because it's just one column, it's okay. And that will be for the content box. Then we have the name box. We're going to set it, this is going to be the title of our dialog message, which will display great or poor or good. And here we can set the bounds to 00 as it is. Then for the width we want to set the whole extent of the screen, and the height, it will be the difference between the first one and the content box, which is 440. This one, the anchor, I want to be on the upper left corner. We can uncheck relative bounds, and for the padding let's select here in the X 10, and the Y is going to be 333. The set, you can leave it at 5 and 1. You can leave also the line spacing as it is. Yet again, we don't want to show the box here, just the text. And for the text format, since this is the header, the title of the dialog box, we can leave the shadow, the white as default. We can show the outline as it is, but for the font we want to select here our Shorek font and set the font size to 62 and the font style again to italic. We again need to have the text alignment to center, and there we go. Then we have other settings we don't care about. So what we need to do now is to save our settings, and let's just click on open in GUI editor just to make sure that we are displaying things like we wanted. So we have our name box here and the content box. Okay, so it looks good. we can close the GUI editor and go back to the event. I want to keep the video short, so we'll resume setting this event in the next video. See you later.